Okay, somebody next.
Damn. I'm thankful like I'm not in this atmosphere all week.
Okay, well we live now, so.
Wow.
That was my middle daughter. I'll show y'all her face. Yeah, it got serious when I said. She didn't see that coming. She didn't see that coming.
Nothing about this one.
To you. Okay. We're here today. Happy Sabbath, everybody. The Sabbath is here. And just wanted to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody. And we are here. Y'all log on. Let me very fruitful week. Thank the Most High. And now we're on the Sabbath. So what we're going to do is get right into what we're going to talk about. I'm not going to keep y'all a long time. And just talk about some things, you know.
Yeah, well, is it the highest temperature in the sand? It's cold.
No.
I'm sweating like a pig.
Don't test that up.
Which part is it?
The middle. The middle. The middle. Oh no, it's not that one.
You got a compound to your computer?
No, because I'm not hooked up. My phone got 20% battery. Thanks for asking me.
No problem.
You need an outlet, right, son?
Yeah, because
Okay. Let me make space and for you.
I'm in there.
Okay. Here's one here for you.
Me too.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it was a faster one?
I thought it wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if it was or not. But anyway, right into this. And let's just talk about some things. We hey Gorilla Oki, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. We're going to talk about some things that are important to Israelite people. I think we don't understand that we supposed to have a code of conduct in everything that we do. I don't care how much we agree or disagree. We should have a code of conduct. Have a code of conduct if people don't have character. You just can't. You cannot have a code of conduct if people don't have character. If you're not going to have a code of conduct if people are not looking at the divine image as the blueprint of their life. because they're going to make all kind of excuses and all this kind of stuff, you know. But if you really are for real, you're just not going to do stuff in a little sloppy, haphazard, you know, matter of fact way. But anyway, let me get off of that. And I want to share with y'all something. You know, I was studying today on a topic called social capital. Social capital. And one of the reasons why I'm intrigued by the concept of social capital is because Black people, Israelite people, don't have social capital. We don't have social capital. And one of the things that perturbs me the most about us not having social capital is the fact that we try to establish and build social capital in the same way that our enemies build it. Hey, Kimberly, Lily, how you doing? What's going on? What's going on? Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom. So when you're talking about building social capital, as a Israelite, oh, there's my lovely wife, Kimberly. There she is. When you talk about social capital within the matrix of most Israelites, we always peg our social capital to the dependence of our enemies. That very practice makes it by default a social inequity that we self-inflict on ourselves. I will tell you why. The Most High is not going to allow us to build a formidable wall of social capital without his divine nature. He's not going to let it even be successful. And when I talk about social capital, I'm not just talking about capitalism. Yes, that's my wife. Her name is Kimberly. So, and your name is Kimberly. So, yeah, y'all, well, we got something in common. But anyway, your husband has a wife named Kimberly, and I have a wife named Kimberly. Huh? But anyway, so, oh, well, you are Kim Burr, Lily, and she is Kim Burr Lee. Okay, close enough. Close enough. But anyway, when we talk about social capital and social equity, your husband's name is Lewis. Is that something? Are you kidding me? Wow. That's what a coincidence. Huh? Everybody know my name. Oh, your name is Kimberly. Oh, okay. Yeah, I say my name all the time. Uh-oh, boy, she about to start a controversy over in there. But anyway, wow, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Well, say shalom to Lewis for me. From Lewis. But anyway, so I want to play you all. I want to get into some things that I have been contemplating this week as it relates to social capital. And I've been juxtaposing many different aspects of Israelite life particular last week and this week against the concept, mingling it with the concept of the divine nature. Hey, Brown Girl Network, how you doing? Shabbat Shalom to you and your son, resident widow. Good to see you. But anyway, what's so funny, son? But anyway, so let's talk about this social. Let's talk about this social capital, okay? And I want you all to be able to understand exactly where I'm coming from with this notion. Batia, look at me. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video for you. All right. And this is a short video, and it's about social capital. So I want us to have a concrete idea of what social capital is. And so I'm getting more and more in the habit. I'm getting more and more in the habit of, if I hear of a concept in this captivity that we're living in, I always go to the scriptures to see how it measure up and how I should be processing and synthesizing the principles that underscore whatever concept, social construct, financial construct, whatever. You know, is this new?
No.
Why is it? Who locks it down like this? Or is it locked down? Oh, it's not even locked down. It just don't have a long neck. Okay. But anyway, why you look at a holy app like that, son? What was so mysterious about what I just said?
No, I can see somebody locking it down.
Yeah.
Hold it down.
You look just like her when you said that.
It look like Batia.
Oh boy.
Hold it down.
But anyway, just so I don't look too dusty and ashy, put some moisturizer on my skin. That's why I put some on my face too. But talk about social capital. We want to describe what is and actualize what is the social capital Israelite. Now, you know what an Israelite is going to do. If an Israelite hears an American say anything, in particular a white person, or a black person that is so staunchly white on the inside, that's what most Israelites are going to go with, find something. But when I hear of concepts, I typically run in the other direction. It's become so habitual that it is now. I could say that it is really now a knee-jerk reaction of mine. Okay, I'm just going to constantly do that because this is how I try to program my mind, teach my children, my wife. You know, I've been doing it for decades. So, so this is something I'm quite proud of, as you can see. But I'm gonna share this video with you, and it's just a little cartoon, a little sketch, and we're going to talk about social capital. Okay. Okay. So let me get my sharing going here. Now you might think, you know, those that are superficial, they're going to say, oh, well, that's not spiritual. You know, just settle down, you know, settle down. You're not that spiritual. You're not that spiritual. It's always the people that's not spiritual that's complaining about you not being spiritual. And I don't get it. Stop playing. You know, you try to teach a spiritual principle through something that is natural, and people don't get it because, you know, the object that you're looking at is not inherently spiritual. But, you know, just calm down. I'm trying to teach a spiritual principle here. Now, this video is about social capital. Okay.
Social capital.
Where's the beat too?
Social capital has nothing to do with geography. Social capital has nothing.
Because I'm corner in the corner, so I can't, you know. You can.
Where was
Y'all
that?
can. On the outskirts, y'all can.
You sure it's not on the table?
It's not.
I want better audio quality than this. Or did I take it in the kitchen?
Oh, no. No.
Just bear with us for a moment.
Oh, it's not on.
Yeah, look up and down.
It must be upstairs. But anyway, so we want to talk about social capital. And yeah, I like the way this video starts because it lets you know that social capital has nothing to do with money directly. I would say directly. It really does have something to do with money, but not directly. You know, Batia, could you get my could you get my Contigo and put some of that mango in there? Mango juice in there. It's in the freezer. Oh, no, not that. It's in the back of the freezer. In the back of the freezer, in a smaller jar. At the top behind those large blue containers. Right, there you go. Is it frozen? Okay, good. All right. So you see it, Genesis? It must be in that kitchen. On top of the microwave, maybe? On top of the convection oven? No. On the side, on the back? You know, look for it. I don't want to keep guessing. Well, what in the world could have happened to it? But anyway, in any event, I wanted y'all to have better audio quality. But I guess I'm just going to have to pump up the volume with this. Batia, put your cup down, go upstairs, and look for that beat spill.
That allow you to support one another. Social capital promotes quality of life. It's what you build up when you're part of a trusting community.
Listen to this, y'all. Build up when you're part of a social community. Y'all, we're not part of no social community. So we can't build social capital because our social capital is pegged to worshiping the Most High. That's what our social capital is pegged to. He put us in captivity so we wouldn't have social capital outside of the confines of his divine nature. He's never going to let us have social capital as a nation or individuals where to the point where it would really even matter. So you heard that? See, this is how I will look at something like this that's just as benign. It appears as benign as it can be, but it really is sending a message black people see a message like this, they internalize this in the same way that they depict the caricatures that they use to illustrate the principles, which is primarily white people. If you look at this picture here, all you see is white people. And so when white people are talking to us about social capital, they're in essence talking to us about the social capital that is within the matrix of white supremacy. And so, like stupid people, what we do is we try to mimic that. And all we do is we resist the divine nature. That's all we do. That's all that really goes on. But we say black power while we're grabbing hold to the tenets of something that was really made to destroy us. And that's the irony. You see, we don't know how to look at the news and look at what's happening in the world and hear the message of the Most High to us. We don't hear that. When we hear news articles, news stories, we just digest those news stories the same way white people do. That's what we do. Not just white people, but people and nations that don't even love the Most High. That's how we pattern everything. That's how we pattern everything. We don't even know what manhood is based on the Bible, even though you can read it right in the Bible. We read it, but it doesn't mean anything to us. We don't know what husbandhood, wifehood, motherhood is. And then if we see an idea that is of our nation, be it an exception or a rule, and we don't like the exception or the rule, we just cast it aside, ignore it, make excuses, haggle, debate. So you got to wonder, what are we really running after? Now, I know we're going to say the Most High. Yeah. But what you really running after? In John, somebody get John chapter 6. No, somebody get, John chapter 6. I want to say verse 66, something like that. But listen to this definition. I don't know why nobody can't find. All my Beats Peel is on my bike. That's where it is.
Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, "This is an hard saying. Who can hear it?"
Go back one verse.
Okay. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things said he in the synagogue as he taught.
What verse you on?
Capernaum. 658.
Okay, 658. Okay, go ahead.
In Capernaum, many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, "This is an hard saying. Who can hear it?"
Did he say a few?
That was many.
It says many. It says many of his disciples, when they heard a hard teaching that they don't agree with, guess what? They never followed them again. That's what the Bible said about Yahushua. Now, he was perfect. Perfect. None of us are perfect. Perfect. And guess what happened? They couldn't take it. They wasn't ready. They wasn't ready. They wasn't ready. They wasn't. So these are some things These are some things that we must take in consideration. So I found my Beats pill. So now I have the proper audio quality. And so we're going to talk about this social capital.
Allow you to support one another. Social capital.
You heard that? You saw how he said it too. I mean, he said it nice and white. Let me play that again. You heard that, Jezreel? What he said?
Yes.
What did he say?
Especially build up when you're part of a trusting community.
It's what you build up when you're part of. He said it all white. He said it's what you build up in a trusting community. Well, we are not in a trusting community. And let me tell you this. Now, this video, when it says trusting community, it's talking about white supremacy. Twisted. That's what this is talking about. I know it sounds nice and white and benign, but they're talking about hurting us when they're talking about a trusting community. Anytime you hear white people or other nations talking about a trusting community, they're talking about hating us. That's just dog whistle for hating us. And I'm going to say this, rightly so. And I want to tell you why I say that. Because they are the whooping boy of the Most High for us. When we hear them start talking about, what do you say, son? Let's see. Let me go back some. Yeah, social capital don't have nothing to do with money because they own it all. They print it all, and all of their faces are on it. So yeah, social capital has nothing to do with money. Okay, whatever. You could tell that to somebody else, but I don't believe that. Oh, and then look what he says. And look at the nice little beautiful elevator music in the background. I mean, it just make you want to. It just make you feel white, you know. So, trusting relationships, okay. And so when we see a video like this, we start thinking Americanism. You know, I'm in the armed forces. You know, I went to school. You know, my platoon that I used to serve with in 5 tours of duty. That's what we start thinking about. That's not real social capital for us. Yeah. For us, the quality of life is having the divine nature and getting back to our Most High, building our families, galvanizing our families, raising our children, loving our wives. That's where our social capital begins, with the Most High. Okay? But we don't want that. You see? It's what you build up when you're part of it. So what did it say, Genesis? A trusting community. I want to tell you, Israelites are not a trusting community. I want to tell you why. We do not trust the character of the Most High. I know we say statutes, laws, and commandments, but we don't really know what that means. So we don't trust the Most High. That's why we're still in captivity. If we trust the Most High, these people wouldn't be able to build a trusting community at our expense and at the expense of our pain. They wouldn't be able to do that. But the only reason why they're able to do that is because we don't have a trusting community in the divine nature of the Most High that manifests itself in our men and our women, our sons and our daughters, our mothers and our fathers. When Black people think about doing something that is social, that builds up social capital, the only way they can even think about it is if they insert a white person in. That's the definition of social capital for most Black people. Hebrew Israelites, Christians, Baptists, Pentecostals, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever. That's what social capital is for most Black people. If white mommy and white daddy is not in it, guess what? We don't believe that we can even have social capital. But all these things that I'm bringing up are part and parcel of the distrust that we have in the Most High. See, I like going back to the Most High because a lot of people will say things like this. Our RGB people and red, black, and green people and our 5%ers and our Nation of Islam and all this. They always talk about do for self. But you're never going to hear the Nation of Islam say do something for the Most High. You're never going to hear them say that. You're never going to hear them say that. That's not, no. It's about do for self. And guess what? That's why we're in captivity, because we did for self. Only self. We did nothing for the Most High. It sounds good on the surface, but it's a very dangerous doctrine in the context that they teach do for self. Remember, I was raised in Chicago. I like this music in the background. Yeah, different social networks that are white. Okay. And Black people think the same way. Israelites think the same way. It allows you to work with different people. What does it say? Yeah, social networks. Why we don't have a social network? Because we don't have a social network with the Most High. We don't. Yeah, all kind of people that's white. Don't you have your phone on? Oh, you on something else? Okay.
For what?
See, all this is based on humanism. It's only based on building social capital with human beings. It never mentions anything about a higher power, the Most High. Nothing. And no doubt the people, most of these people that they're depicting here as little cartoon caricatures, guess what they probably are? Christians.
I mean,
okay, go ahead.
In a situation like that, I mean, a lot of the situations that we deal with, if people kind of worked together and had some type of agency among each other, wouldn't like a lot. I mean, like if your basement is flooded, and you know a guy who he has a pump or whatever, like they're saying, that really is nothing. Is it to get God involved in? I mean,
well, that's
he's involved in the sense that he has some people inside of this group that are able to do that certain type of thing.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to communicate. Our social capital should be based on that. I'm not really coming against this thing because it's not. We will look at this and we're supposed to be trusting in the Most High and doing things for the Most High. I said, whatsoever you do for the glory of the Most High. Well, that's gonna play a huge role in the type of social capital that we structure, that we build. Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's all that I'm saying. I'm not looking at this in a myopic way while saying just talking a bunch of little spiritual mumbo jumbo stuff and then, your basement is still full with water. No, I'm saying because you do have a spiritual connection with each other and everybody's trying to exhibit the divine nature and live the divine nature, your basement is not going to even get flooded. Because it's going to be somebody out there that's going to be thinking, you know what? We are all of our buildings that we live in, they should have sump pumps in them. And I do that. And you put some sump pumps in his basement and he'll give you something and you give him something and guess what? That's social capital. And there may or may not be an exchange between money. There may or may not. It don't matter. You're able to get the things that you need. Yeah, helping to get rid of black people, solving social problems together. That's social capital, you see? So we're trying to solve the problem of our enemies by directly attacking our enemies, having a politic body that's really based on white supremacy anyway, and economic empowerment, job creation, and it's like we just pattern everything after them. And we always leave the Most High out. He's never even on the periphery of any of the things that we come up with. And that's unfortunate. But anyway, I just wanted to play that video so we would have a concrete idea, get a concrete idea of social capital. Of social capital. So yeah, I wrote down some things. I've been writing down some things for the past 2 weeks, on and off, just not jabbing, but dabbing down a few things about hey, Disinfo War, how you doing? Shalom, shalom, shalom. Good to see you. But I've been dabbing down some things about I've been dabbing down some things about social capital that I would like to read to you. Okay. Yeah, it's not a whole lot right now, but it just I could really talk about this for a long time. And but I'm not. Okay. I think at 9 o'clock I'm gonna be finished. Where is the social capital for the Hebrew Israelite community? The social capital of the nation of Israel is not based on money, but rather of the dependence on their God. It is a profound mistake the nation of Israel for the nation of Israel to think that the political and economic empowerment that its political or economic to think that political or economic empowerment is us from our individual and national enemies. Of the many things that we've done in this carnal flesh to reap a complete harvest, of the many things that we have done in this carnal flesh to reap a complete harvest of freedom, none of which has produced the fruits of liberation and autonomy. We as a nation of people have not sown the seeds of the divine nature in faith because we are so busy sowing the seeds that our competitors rely upon as tools. Competitors rely upon as tools to maintain our captivity. It is like they are creating a rope to keep us held down, but we are turning it into a hangman's noose. Yeah, I know that sounds. I know that sounds a lot like blaming the victim. Something. We are not as much of a victim as you think we are. Yes, in some respect we are a victim, but in another respect we're not. I will explain. Yah is not going to ever allow for Israelites to accrue the type of social capital that would create a resistance in us to his divine nature. And that's exactly what we seek. We want the Most High to give us a type of social capital that puts us on par with the lifestyle of our enemies and oppressors. And this is the exact thing that is a buffer between them and the Most High. But that's exactly what we want. The methodologies and procedures that they go through to build social capital is exactly what we want, to be able to look like them, dress like them, smell like them, walk like them, talk like them. And those are the very reasons why we're in captivity. Okay. This is the format of social capital that our very enemies have been granted to wield over us as an initiative to seek the auspices of Yah's divine nature. Okay, so we want this social capital. We want social capital. We want the social capital that surrounded the life of Frank Sinatra. And what did he say? I did it my way. We want that my way social capital. But the Most High says, if you ever going to get social capital in a divine nature context, guess what? You're going to have to do it my way, not your way. But we don't get that yet. We don't get that. We don't get that. We don't get that. Okay, it's about 9 o'clock. I'm not going to keep y'all. I'm not going to keep y'all. Is there anyone out there that has any questions before I close? Anybody here have any questions that they'd like to ask before? Huh? Okay, son, don't start that. As it pertains to social capital, can you explain to me, Melchizedek, what social capital is? How about that?
Trusting.
Trusting what?
Oh.
I've been talking about it for about an hour.
I'm not really sure about it. You want to give a stab at it? Just capitalizing on socialism. Or, I know
what did you say?
Just capitalizing basically on your social connections with other people.
Right, that's good. It's capitalizing on your social connections with other people to build and establish a community. That's basically what social capital is. You know, it just gives you a incubation place to build social capital. So yeah, that was very good definition. I appreciate that. But anyway, I could go through some scriptures and stuff and go through all this concept of social capital. I mean, you can see social capital all up in Israel. Love the two great commandments: love the Most High with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And the second is like unto it: love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. See, those commandments, that's our social capital. The foundation of those two commandments are our social capital. And we're not spending any of it. We're not utilizing this capital. Why? Because we're looking for paper. We're looking for capital with the faces of our oppressors on it. That means more to us than even having social capital with the Most High and his Son. That's why the Pharisees said, hey, we have no king but Caesar. We have no God but Caesar. It's the same thing. You got Israelites saying this. You got Israelites in John chapter 4, verse 57, 58, who say, you know what? Yahushua is teaching some stuff that, we don't really like. Come on, man. Come on. But you know what? I'm going to read something to you. Luke chapter 4, verse 57. Or Luke 6:57. What is it?
If you eat this chocolate right here, this is a slap. These two pieces.
No, it's John chapter. Yeah, it's John, not Luke. Chapter 6, verse 57, I think. Look what it says.
Y'all need to get y'all.
I'm going to start at John chapter 6, verse 51. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. So here is Yahushua giving himself as a sacrifice so Israel will be able to build social capital. You cannot you can't go to any place in the Bible and not read about the social capital of Israel. It's no place you can go. So it says in verse 52, the Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? How can this man give us his flesh to eat? So they want to make a big controversy out of that. They want an excuse. So look what hey y'all, I'm just reading what happens, y'all. I'm just reading what happens. The Jews thereof strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? So they have a problem with what Yahushua is saying. They don't live by every word that proceedeth out of it. They live by bread alone and not by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yah. They don't know. They don't want to hear that. So look at this. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? Teaching false doctrine. Or if we don't even care if it's false doctrine. You teach us something we don't like. So it says this. Then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Watch this. Whosoever eat my flesh and drink my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father have sent me, I live by the Father, so that he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is the bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna. Manna represents the bread of heaven. Ezekiel, I think, chapter 9, Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13 and 14, the Bible says, it talks about bread, wheat, barley, beans, lentil, millet, and spitches, okay? And you're supposed to make a barley cake with this, all right? In Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13, I think it's Ezekiel 4:13. Ezekiel 4:13. You're supposed to make a barley cake, but this barley cake only has what? 6 grains. Why doesn't it have 7? Because the 7th grain is corn. Corn, wine, and oil. Okay? Well, just corn. Corn is the 7th grain. 7 means complete. Okay? 7 means complete. Okay? And then after the 7th grain, you get this other grain, which is called manna, and it comes straight from heaven. And people was even complaining, the Israelites in the wilderness, right when the Most High sent a prophet to deliver them from Israel, they was complaining even about the food that fell from heaven. Oh, we don't want this bread. We don't want this doctrine from heaven. We don't want it. We don't want the bread from heaven. So no matter what the Most High put on the table, guess what? You're going to have people that's I don't want it. I'm grown. Really? So the people in Moses' day, they didn't even want the bread from heaven. And the Most High had to kill some people who didn't want the bread from heaven. We see in the New Testament where Yahushua said, I am the bread of life. And now, if that's not the bread of heaven, I don't know what is. And guess what? They had a problem with that. So it says, these things said he in the synagogue, as he taught in Capernaum. Many, therefore, of his disciples, when they heard this, look what the disciples say. And it says, many of his disciples. Many, therefore, of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying. We don't like this doctrine. Yahushua, hard. See, we think everything that we read in the Bible is going to be easy. No, it's not. You're going to see some stuff in the Bible that's hard. Hard. And I want to tell you something. It's going to be people that lose their faith on stuff that the Most High said. You said, where's the proof? The manna. Why did they have a problem with manna? Guess what they wanted? They wanted the flesh pots of Egypt. They wanted the flesh pots of Egypt. Plain and simple. The same people that was complaining about the bread of heaven wanted the flesh pots of Egypt, the doctrines of Egypt. They wanted the carnal nature of their oppressors. Egypt means oppressor. Egypt means oppressor. They can't do things the exact way that their oppressors do things, even though it's in the scriptures. They want to make you out to be something that you're not. And you got receipts. You got receipts of what kind of appetite you got. Receipts that last for decades. And you got to wonder, why is it when Yahushua says something, we so quick to leave him? And the people that he's with, why? Why are you so quick? And why does it, a lot of times it happens without notice. Without notice, without notification, it just happens. And why is it that every time you confront the people, they always say the same thing? Every one of them says the same thing. Oh, well, I didn't get around to it. Oh, I was about to. Why is it always that? I'm just saying, y'all, don't get into your feelings. I'm just saying, why is that? Why is that? The Bible says the wicked feareth when no man sueth, but the righteous is bold as a lion. Well, where are these righteous people at? Where are they? And it's always the people that's running that say they're righteous. But if you call them on it, they're going to say, oh, no, I wasn't running. Oh, yeah, okay. So it says, these things said he in the synagogue, as he taught in Capernaum. Many, therefore, of his disciples heard this, said, this is a hard saying. Now, they saying this to Yahushua. They're not saying this to some old dusty prophet in Chicago on the internet or at the bus stop. This is a hard saying. Who can hear it? I like that. This is a hard saying. Who can hear it? I like that. I like that. That reminds me of another scripture. Okay, let's put a mark right there. Let's highlight that. Who can hear it? Who can hear the truth? Watch this. I'm going to give you something about that hearing. Watch this. When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it unto them, doth this offend you? What's that? Psalms 119, 165. Great peace have they that love thy law, and nothing in the law is going to offend you. Great peace. Is that Psalms 119, 165? Let me go see. You start reading some stuff that people didn't read in Sunday school when they was a little kid, and they start getting upset. They get offended by the law. And let me say this too. There are some laws that are exceptions, but they are not rules. And when I say rules, I'm talking about as far as the general population of Israelites. There are some laws in the Bible that are exceptions. but they are not the rule for every single person in Israel. They're not. That Aaron is supposed to wear, that's a law only for the priest. That's an example right there. The law of leprosy is only for those that are dealing with leprosy. The laws for women when they are on their cycle, that's not a law for men. Now, there's some aspects of the law that does apply to men as far as sanitation, but those laws are really for the women. The childbirth and all that kind of stuff. So there are some laws, watch this, y'all. There are some laws that are exceptions, but they are not a rule for everybody. They are not a rule for every single person in Israel. All those laws some laws don't even apply to everybody in Israel. So Psalms 119, I think 165. Oh, okay. Yeah, great peace have they that love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Nothing in the law is going to defend a person that's looking for the divine image. So watch this, y'all. If you're offended by anything that's in the Bible, if you're offended by anything that the Most High has said in the Bible, you need to check your spirit. And you need to check whether or not it's really stated in the scriptures. You got to check that. You got to check that, y'all. Because I want to tell you what the danger is. The danger is this. Watch this. Let's go back to John chapter 6. What if ye shall see the Son of Man ascend where he was before? It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profit. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. They don't even believe the Mashiach. They don't believe everything that come out of his mouth. They pick and choose the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. I'm not starting a war here, okay? I'm not starting a witch hunt by saying what I'm saying, even though I'm looking in the camera, okay? Settle yourself. I'm dealing with principles. I'm dealing with right and wrong. Now, I was supposed to end a few minutes ago, but it looked like I'm about to go in. I done got stirred. But there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believe not. So the Mashiach knew right off the bat who was going to leave him. He knew who's going to leave him. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were and believed not. And when I say believe not, I didn't say they don't believe anything he says. They don't believe everything he says. They don't believe everything he says. People are cherry picking what they want to believe. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believe not and who should betray him. And he said, therefore said I unto you, that no man come unto me except it were given to him unto him of my Father. Nobody is going to come to Yahushua and stick with him for the rest of their life if it haven't been given to them. And it will tell you why it's not given to them, because it's not the divine nature. Look at this. You have the parable that's over there in Matthew 13, Luke 4, and Mark 8. No, Mark 4 and Luke 8. It's the parable of the seed sower. You have all these good seeds, but guess what? Some are sown on thorny ground, wayside ground. Thorny, wayside, and what else? Thorny, wayside, stony, and good ground. 4 types of ground. 4 types of ground. Therefore said I unto you, that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father. And when he says, come unto me, it means stick with him. From that time, many of his disciples went back. Hey, y'all, I'm not putting myself in the position of Yahushua. I'm just saying. There is a character profile to people that can't, just like there's a racial profile. Well, there's a character profile to people that just can't take the word. There really is, y'all. There really is. I done dealt with it for too long to not be able to see that. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. They walked back and they never walked with Yahushua again. So what do you expect for them to do with me and you? They're going to kick us to the curb hard. Yahushua was here today. It would be people, Hebrew Israelites who believe in the statutes, laws, and commandments, who believe the Bible, but they don't believe the Most High. They will kick him to the curb if he was here. And they would do it while they saying, I just want to please the Most High. Y'all, that happened in Yahushua's day. That's why the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. So let's go back up to verse 61. Then Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it. He said unto them, does this offend you? And the scripture that just popped to my mind is Psalms 119, 165. He said, does this what I said that come out of my mouth, do it offend you? Great peace have they that love. They just trust the Most High. They just trust the Most High, even if they don't understand. You know why? Because he has a consistent record. He has a consistent record. He has a verifiable record. He has receipts of the type of Elohim that he is. Now, when somebody has a confirmed track record of the type of person that they are, you should believe it. You should believe it. Don't. It's no reason not to believe it. So they are going to do some things that you don't understand. And so you don't really see it clearly, because the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 13 that we see out of a glass darkly. It's going to be some things you don't understand, but you base things on a track record. The Bible says there's wisdom in a multitude of counsel. When you have known a person for a long time and you have seen how they act on certain things, you build a profile of their character, of their demeanor, of how they deal with problems. You don't wait. See, some people operate this way. They wait till they're always looking for something to disagree with you on. And you can prove that by watch when they disagree with you on something. You won't even hear from them again. You won't even hear from them again. They start sending you text messages saying, I can't listen to you anymore. Don't contact me. I mean, it's close-ended. I'm going to send you this message, but you can't contact me anymore. Matter of fact, you can't even talk to anybody about this. They try to sequester you, your speech and your other relationships. Well, if you're not going to talk to me anymore, what difference do it make who I talk to? This is wicked behavior, y'all. It's wickedness. But these same people that say they're not going to be listening to you, guess what? They sitting back on their computer, and guess what they're doing? They're listening to you. They're watching you. And matter of fact, they're even sitting back watching you to see if you're going to say something to offend them. Isn't that amazing? You're going to act like you're not watching me. But you're going to watch me for one reason, to see if I say something about you. You're not that important. You're not that important. And you're being a hypocrite. If you're not going to do something, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Follow through with whatever you say you're going to do. And be a man about it. Or a woman. So anyway, I just thought I'd read this John chapter 6. You know, it's just like, wow, man. Really? So you say one thing. You say one thing that a person don't like, and they're done with you? Do you do that to your children? Do you do that with your husband? Do you do that with your wife? Your grandkids? Your nieces? Your uncle? Your mama? Your daddy? What is this? I'm glad the Most High is not like that. Please. You know how many things I've done wrong in my life? And I want to tell you, that is so Christian. And I want to tell you, it's of the nature of this type of doctrine that's called penal substitutionary atonement. It's the idea that it's basically the idea that the Most High is saying, hey, I love you, and I want you to love me back. But if you don't love me, I will kill you. I'm telling you, you could find people that really believe this. Watch how they treat you when you disagree with them. And I want to tell you something. You could disagree with them and they could be wrong, and they still are chomping at the bit. They're still chomping at the bit. They're still chomping at the bit. I mean, look at Yahushua. They disagree with him. And you know, after they left him, they couldn't think highly of him. They could. How can you leave? How can you leave Yahushua? You're one of his disciples, and then starts thinking you don't think no ill of him. Come on, that don't make sense. You're going to leave Yahushua, the source of life, the very image of the Most High in the earth, the express image of the divine nature of the Most High in the earth. You're going to leave him and then not say nothing bad about him? It don't work like, not think anything bad about him? No, it don't work like that. You are lying to yourself. You are a liar. Soon as people leave you, they start thinking evil of you. Their imagination starts getting polluted. They will even make up stuff, and then they will even go spread it. And they will tell just flat out lies. And these are some of the same people who said, oh yeah, I love you. So you just got to be careful, y'all. You got to be careful. You have to be careful. Some people just waiting. Some people just waiting to make you their enemy. They really are. They may have a reason, they may not have a reason. It really don't matter. And it's really interesting. Some of these people, when they want to make you their enemy because of envy and avarice, what they try to do is recruit other people to, be a tandem enemy of yours. And I want to tell you, you got to thank the Most High for people that really got some guts. You got to thank some people who really got some guts, who, when this happens, guess what they do? They start sticking up for you. Woo! They stick up for you like a champion. They stick up for you like a champion. And then when they stick up for you, when the wicked come against you, you know what? That just stuffs that makes the person sick. That makes them sick. Because their whole thing was to recruit you. But then you actually give them a warning about what they're doing. Those are the type of people I've never seen before. Somebody start talking greasy about you and all this kind of stuff and then lying. And then they try to recruit another person, and the other person like, Arr! It's like, I don't even want to hear that. I don't even want to talk to you again. And they start defending you in righteousness. That makes you want to stand up and give a standing ovation. You know how rare that is? People don't even stand up for the Most High. So if somebody stand up for you because you're doing the right thing, you got to tip the hat. You got to give an ovation for that type of behavior. Exactly, Kimberly. Exactly. And let me say this. If nobody was coming to this chat room, I would still be on here teaching. I was teaching on here for decades. At least over a decade before I even started doing live. The only person that was listening to me was my family and me.
You don't even have to feature.
Yeah, before they even had the feature of live chat and Google Hangouts and stuff. I was on before YouTube started. I was teaching. That's just what I do. I teach. I teach at home. I teach on the internet. I teach at the bus stop. I teach everywhere I go. I teach when I go to church. When I'm at when I'm at the I'm standing in line in the store, I will start talking to anybody. I turn around and like, man, it's taking a long time. You know what? I'm just gonna turn around and start talking to you. Okay. And start teaching wherever I'm at. The Bible says, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. And that's what I do. And been doing it for years. So whoever the people out there, the individual out there that's trying to discourage people from coming to my room, and show your face. Show your face. You know me. You know how I roll. Hey, I'll put you right on the Google Hangout. Oh yeah, we'll hear your voice and everything. Bring it, baby, bring it. Bring it. But you're not gonna do that. You know why? Because you know how I roll. You know, you've seen me in action before. I will open up my Google Hangout and let your face be shown. But you got these people that want to be demons on the internet, hide behind comments and letters and all this kind of stuff. I got my face out there, y'all. What, I got about over 650 videos on my channel? Yeah, I got a tiny channel, but I never did it for size. I never did it for size, y'all. I never did it for popularity or what's that? I never done it for popularity. So y'all, grow up. If you don't want to listen to a person, just stop listening to them. Stop listening to them. People telling me, oh yeah, I stopped listening to you. It's like, okay, congratulations. I wasn't doing it for you anyway. I wasn't doing it for you. I was never doing it for you. I don't even know you. Is this a mosquito or a fruit fly? What is this? So anyway, so yeah, you want to talk to me? You know how to get in contact with me. You know how to get in contact with me. Don't be a coward. Don't be a sissy and a faggot. Yeah, I'm going in. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's nothing like having respect for your enemies. And if that's what you want to be, that's fine with me. I'm supposed to have some enemies. The men of the Most High supposed to have some enemies. I wonder about people who don't. I really do. So anyway, this is Prophet Robert and I will be signing out. You all take it easy. Have a good night. I didn't mean to be rough or mean or anything like that. I just want to let you know where I stand. Let you know where I stand. So anyway, you all take it easy. And all y'all that don't supposed to be watching my channel and are still watching my channel, you got to ask yourself, why am I still watching this channel? Why do I even care what he's saying? And I want to tell you why. Say something about you. That's the only reason why you're not listening to get edified. You're not listening to get edified. You listen to see if I'm going to say something about you. But anyway, I'm out of here. You all have a beautiful Sabbath and shalom.